Patricia, watch it to make sure that it's on. Can you do that?
Yeah, I'm currently checking.
Okay, cool. You'll be our back tech person.
She says, okay. What's it look like?
We're going to wait for people. Hello, everyone. We're going to wait till we have some logins to have some people join us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here we are. Till we have some logins to have some people join us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here we are. Till we have some logins to have some people join us.
There's a lag.
Yeah.
So Patricia, are we there? Because I'm not going to
Yeah.
watch it. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
she says so.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So if you can turn your sound down, Patricia, or if you have earphones or something, because
Yeah,
it'll
it's
feed
down.
back.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 25th Red Nation Celebration Legacy Project. And we've been doing these for, well, I think this is our 5th time live with the Legacy Project. We're really excited because we're going to be bringing different guests every Friday at 3. And introducing a whole new audience to who Red Nation Celebration is and what we do. And for all of you that know us, you can help spread the word and join us and ask us questions and all those, wonderful things like that. So we're going to give it a second to let other people log in. We'll give it about another couple of minutes. And then I will introduce our guests and we'll have some fun. We'll do some rock and roll here, some art, some native art, indigenous art. We'll talk about all these words that they call us. We'll talk about some projects that we've done with Red Nation, through Red Nation, and we'll have some fun. That's what we need today in this world, is to have some fun, because there's so much
There's a lot.
trauma going around.
That's true.
So we can bring some light and good energy, some rock and roll, and things like that. So I'm gonna turn up a little bit of music while we give it a minute.
Okay. Old stuff.
Can you hear the music?
No.
No?
No, she can't. Mm.
Okay. Well, forget the music. I'll figure that out next Friday. For next Friday. It's so much fun learning this technology, because I'm so not technical at all.
Man, let me tell you.
All right. We'll wait for one other person to join us and see if they're there. They are not there. Okay.
Hey.
Okay, well, we're going to start today's show. And I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Janelle Romero, and I am the founder and president of Red Nation Celebration Institute. And I'm going to read a little thing so that you get to know who we are for those of you who don't know anything about us. We're the first and largest national Native-led enterprise, founded in 1995 in Santa Fe, New Mexico, during Indian Market. Red Nation Celebration Institute is the longest standing American Indian and Indigenous media, arts, and cultural nonprofit organization in Los Angeles. Red Nation Celebration, the authentic voice of American Indian and Indigenous nations, led by Native women to increase the visibility of independent filmmakers, media artists, and content creators, amplifying cinematic excellence in creating systematic change through the arts, with an emphasis on initiatives for Native women, girls, and youth in all media platforms and educational institutions, in conjunction with partners from around the world. I built this Red Nation Institute to cast light on the voices, stories, contributions, and assets of contemporary Native peoples, and replacing dangerous stereotypes that Native peoples face in media and academia, with a 25-year history of cohesive, research-informed strategies, groundbreaking initiatives through cinematic excellence, media, and strong focus on partnerships. And I did not do this alone at all. I had the vision, and then we built this all together. All the artists that have performed at Red Nation over the 25 years, all the filmmakers, all the musicians, all the tech, all the volunteers. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of people who helped build Red Nation Celebration Institute. And I'm going to introduce you to a dear friend. He is an incredible, brilliant artist. And when I saw his work years ago, I think it was around 2005, 2004, I was blown away by his artwork, especially one of Geronimo and the piece that he has behind him, and he'll share about that. But I want the world to be introduced to Ikoshy Montoya. And he's now residing in Texas. And this is Ikoshy. Hi, Ikoshy.
Hello, how are you doing? Danzo. Greetings.
I'm happy you're here with us today and sharing your art and sharing a couple of other things. We'll share some experiences that you've had at Red Nation. So I understand you moved from where to where?
Well, I was up in Yankee Hill, California for quite a while, and went through some life changes, and ended up finally moving over here to Texas. So right now, Patricia and I, my companion, we're settling in here, and just getting the hang of a new rhythm, because it's a totally different lifestyle down here in South Texas, and totally different group of people. But I'm actually living in one of our old Lipan Apache village sites. Originally, it was called, from what one of our chairmen, Richard Gonzalez, said, it was called Ko'i, which means place of waters. There's a huge artesian well that comes out here. And I think a lot of tribes besides Lipans used it one time, and camped and was here and staying here. And of course, we were driven off by the U.S. Cavalry, United States, but a few of us have drifted back over here and live here now. So, and I'm one of them. So anyway, that's where I'm at.
Do you know how many Apaches are there now? living at that site?
Well, there, uh, that I know of, probably about, I'd say about 10 altogether right now,
Mhm.
because there's the town is called Bracketville, and it was a town that sprang up to serve Fort Clark, which the U.S. Army set up here, and it was our old village site, like I said, and they set up a fort here. Bracketville sprung up, and a lot of natives at that time, I mean, a lot went underground, and in order to survive. But now in Texas, there's a whole new movement going on. It's been going on for quite a while, of indigenous peoples here in the state, and our people are part of that movement. And so we are doing quite well right now. We have good membership, and slowly but surely getting our ceremonies back, and you know, reclaiming what was almost gone,
Yeah.
and getting it back. Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about reclaiming, it's been quite extraordinary experiencing and witnessing, um, currently what we as Native peoples have gone through.
Mhm.
And just like in the United States, I'm not talking about,
Right.
globally, but just in the United States. And even I remember when in 2003, I was at ceremony in the Black Hills, and the elders were talking about that they're going to start using the word indigenous to represent
Right.
who we are. And
Right.
I haven't really uh, have spoken about this, during these live show. Well, we've only done 5, but I really
Right.
want to start getting into this conversation, because a lot of our audience, call, or they email me, or they private message me on Facebook, and they ask me this question, like, why did it change to indigenous? And
Yeah.
what do you want to be called? Native American, American Indian, indigenous, native? And I personally have my take on it, but I wanted to ask, do you have a point of view on that? And then I'll share mine.
Well, when you say indigenous, I mean, even I'm the sole proprietor of my business. It's called Indigenous American Art, and indigenous, Indian, Native American, American Indian, everybody knows who we're talking about. But I think when you use the word indigenous, that opens up a huge playing field, a huge field, because it takes in all the indigenous peoples in the world. Basically, it means everybody that's indigenous. And at one time, we were all indigenous, whether you're from Europe or from Australia, New Zealand, or Japan, or any of those places. There's still indigenous people there. So yeah, I like to use the word indigenous, but I also use the other words as well, because everybody, like I said, everybody knows what we're talking about when we use those terms, And I'm not some people they might correct you or ask you questions, but they basically know what we're talking about when we say indigenous or Native American or American Indian, or the word Indian for that matter.
Yeah, the word Indian. Yeah. Yeah, I just know that there's like Latinas that have, or Latinx, that's another word that's new, that, that they go, what do you mean by indigenous? So it's just, I know it's a play on words, but for me personally, I just like to say what tribe I'm from, right? That represents me. But when we're talking about a whole, all of us as a whole,
Right.
I personally like to use the word native,
Yeah.
because I feel indigenous gets really complicated, and it's just,
Well, it can be. Yeah.
yeah, and also Native American. I mean, that's completely, I don't use that at all. But
Yeah,
you know, everyone has an opinion on that and a point of view on that,
right.
and I appreciate everybody's point of view. But yeah, I just wanted to see what your thoughts were on that. I miss voices
Mm,
like Russell Means. I wish he was here so we could
yeah,
have a little dialogue about this.
yeah. I'm sure there would be some quite some dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I'd love to introduce the audience to your work. Um, I see the painting that you have behind you. Could you take
Yeah.
it down and like put it up to the camera? Is that
Let me
possible?
see.
Because I know
Let
it's
me
the
see it.
fender beings, right? Speaking of Russell.
Yeah, it's a Thunderbird. Oh, let me see. Where is it? Right there. Yeah, it's a pretty well-known piece. I mean, a lot of
So
people have seen
beautiful.
it. I did it quite a few years ago. Uh, a lot of people, you know, it was a lot of my work. You know, it comes out of ceremonial experiences, and I was at this ceremony, and uh, at the ceremony, it's a ceremony that lasts all night long. It's a Native American church ceremony, and I was sitting next to my uncle, and when we got into the teepee for the ceremony, um, we could hear the thunder coming and lightning coming up the valley from down below. We were high up in the mountains, and he was sitting next to me, and he kind of elbowed me, and he said, "Hey, nephew," he said, "the thunder beings are coming." And I, you know, I said, "Yeah, I can hear them," you know. And but he was like he was older, you know, he was an older man, but he was kind of like a little kid. He got excited, you know. And the closer they got, you know, finally they were like over us, and you could hear they were right outside our teepee, and when they were just striking all over. And when we were singing and drumming in there, and then all of a sudden it kind of came to a stop, and my uncle started talking about his people, his Arapaho people, and how they have these relationships with the thunder beings, and he started talking about the ceremonies they have and so on and so forth. And I sat next to him, and I was looking at him, watching him talk. And every time he opened his mouth, the lightning would strike. He'd
Oh,
stop
wow.
a sentence. That next word, that lightning would strike. It was right on the money. So you know, he spoke about it, and pretty soon they started to move off. And he told them to start singing and drumming again. So they started that, and so I could hear them outside, and I had my eyes shut, and I'd look at the fire and shut my eyes. And then one time when I shut my eyes, I could see a face in the darkness, you know, especially when I'd hear the lightning hit outside, and it would light up this face. So I kept looking at that face, and I was wondering what it was, you know, what I was seeing. And finally, I noticed that when the lightning struck outside and it lit up his face, that it was actually hitting him in his face. It was striking him on his face. And then the more I looked at him, and I could see him singing, and the more I looked at him, when the lightning struck him, he would inhale it. He was breathing it in, and then he was breathing that lightning back out and singing at the same time.
Wow.
And then a lightning bolt came and hit him right on his nose. And that's when it put that paint on his face right there. And then another one struck him in the top of his head, and there was a real bright light, and all of the eagle feathers came out, all these beautiful eagle feathers and rainbow thunderbirds. And it was, you know, very moving. It was very, I didn't know what to think of it, but so that's where the image came from. I got up the next morning, and I just got a piece of paper and drew it down because it was with me, you know. And then later on, I had a good friend of mine, Eddie Webb. He was writing a book on indigenous culture, and he had a chapter called "Thunderstorms and Rainbows." I think that's what it was called. And he said, I need an image for that." And I said, "Shoot, I got the perfect image." And so I started to paint it. And usually a painting, I'll work off and on for a month on it, and this one just happened right away. And it kind of took me aback. It was a little, I stood back one time when I finished painting the face, and I stood back and I got shivers, and I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't be painting these thunder beings. And so I asked my uncle about it, and he said, no. He said, people need to know that those beings are there, and they're there to help us. They bring the fall and they bring the spring, and they're there. They're entities that live on this earth, and they're powerful, and we shouldn't be afraid of them. And so he said, go ahead, And I had this painting done probably in less than 2 weeks. And it just kind of like sprung out, and it was, yeah, and then it was done, So yeah, that's where it came from. And yeah, it's a thunder being. There we are down there in the teepee. Right
I
there.
love your work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Ikoshy, a lot of people that tune in, are not familiar with our ways. And so when we use the words thunder beings, it's like, what? They go, what's that? So
Yeah.
So I know you shared that, but can you share a little bit more on our sacred thunder beings and what they mean?
Well, the thing is, I remember one time my uncle said, because he was a Native American church leader, he was a roadman,
Yeah.
and I was involved. I'm involved with the Native American church, and when we use that medicine, it brings us into a real high spiritual state, And one time he explained to me, he said that, he said, that feeling we have when we eat that medicine, and it brings us into that state. He says he explained it as being in the state of God, in the state of grace, and he said, and we heal people at that time when we're in that state. People come in and get healed. They get information about what they need to do in their lives, how they need to conduct themselves, how they need to, the whole world is you're seeing it through, a different set of eyes and experiences. And he said in here, he said, in our ceremony here, he said, there's no miracles. He says, that's the way life should be. When we're sick, we get healed. He said, now they would say that there were miracles, but back then, he said, we were always in that high state. He said, we didn't even need anything to bring us to that state. We were always there. He says, that was our natural state. But then when the whole European thing happened and all that happened, he said, it kind of went away from us. But the creator, being what the creator is, gave us medicines to remind us of where we should be. And that Native American church and that medicine, that peyote, he said that's what helps you do that. So, yeah, I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, I'm smiling because it's true, and wisdom keepers, and are truth tellers, and because we're just, all of our old ways are verbal, right? It's not really written down, especially oral. Yeah, so especially our traditional ways. And I will share this. Not too many people know this, so I'm going to share it to the world right now. When I in 19 it was around the end of 1990, there was elders in Cayente, the Singer family. I know there's a lot of Singer families, but this particular family in Cayente had sent someone. I was a single mom with my daughter. She was about, I don't know, 3 or some, let's say 7, 8, 8, 9. I was about 4 years old. And they had asked me to come to Cayente, Arizona. They wanted to do ceremony with me, and and it would just be elders. And I was like, well, first of all, I don't know who this guy is. So it took about 3
Where's
months
he
for me
taking me?
to, what?
Where's he taking me?
Exactly. I don't want to, I've been kidnapped before. I ain't going with no string. Anyway, so it took them about 3 months, and they called me, and and because I have 39 years sober, not today, but back then I was I don't know how many years sober I had, but anyway,
Right.
I was nervous to do that, but so I went, and at that time I was just acting and singing, right? I was doing a little bit of producing, but not so much. And so we had the ceremony, and they gave me, my ancestors in that meeting gave me so much information, so much
You're
information.
right.
And it
Yeah,
was
of course.
so beautiful. And what came out of that ceremony was my production company.
You're right.
When I came
Yeah.
back to LA, 2 weeks after I got back home, Michael Jackson's office had called me and said he's looking for native dancers. He can't find anyone for his music video. And do you have anyone? And I said, yeah, I have the best dancers. I don't have anyone. So I called up all my powwow friends. I said, show up at my house, whoever wants to be on Michael Jackson's video. And so 30 dancers showed up. And my daughter
Oh,
had
cool.
been
Yeah.
jingle dress dancing at the time. And so Michael Jackson,
Mhm.
helped launch my production company and shared a lot of press and helping me launch it.
Mhm.
But and then I haven't looked back. I've been producing ever since. And they told me what I would be doing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
everything that they told me has manifested.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. That's that
Yeah.
miracle that is common.
Yeah.
It's common. It's not uncommon. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this same ceremony, there was a time when I was even younger that I had the gift as far as art. I was an artist, but I didn't have any direction. And that same uncle that helped me out, ran this ceremony, he told me that, when we put that tobacco out there, there's a corn shuck in the tobacco. He says, if there's something that you need in your life, take that, roll smoke, and pray with it, and you will get what you need, and the creator wants to see us happy, so,
Yeah.
and I did that, and from there on, that's where all the art sprung from,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still springing. So,
Mm-hmm.
I've got a pretty active mind all the time, as my companion can tell you. So, yeah, that's where it came from.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know that, where can people go to see all of your artwork? Do you have a site set up?
Well, I do have some new apparel out actually on ikoshy.myshopify.com, and I do have my website as well, ikoshy.com. They can go check out stuff. And right now, I want to take a year off and do nothing but paint, because I used to, I was always on the power trail, to make a living and stuff. So, but now I think I'm gonna try and take about a year off, and I've got a lot of work. I've got a whole new style. I'll still be doing some like work like this, airbrush work, but I've been, for the past probably 8 years or maybe longer now, I've been working on a native kind of old school flash tattoo style.
Oh,
And yeah, so I've got this. Let me show you this one here.
okay. Yeah. Love to see it.
These are just some drawings of some
Oh,
of mine. I
wow.
don't think you can see that very well, but yeah,
It's gorgeous.
I love old school tattoo flash, and so it took me a while to kind of get it down and kind of make it happen. But like these here, these will be a series of 4 paintings, and they'll be pretty good size. Love, Faith, Hope, and Charity, which is a creed of the Native American Church.
Mm.
So I've been working on these, and yeah, so I've been busy that way. Let me see if I can show you one more.
Did you sell that a Geronimo's painting that you did, the one I love so much?
No, yeah, my cousin Emilio picked it up. He bought it. Yeah,
Oh, darn it.
but I do have it in a limited edition print. This is
Oh,
another
okay.
piece. It does
Oh,
come in a
yeah.
limited edition print. Yeah, but that's
I'm gonna have to put my glasses on. Wait, keep it up. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, very cool.
and let me see if I can show you one more piece. But I got plenty others too. Some of them are pretty political, and this one is kind of you know how loving natives are. They're kind of
Right.
I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, love hurts sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, native love can be pretty harsh. So
Well,
anyway, yeah, here's a smaller. Let me see that Geronimo.
oh yeah, there
Can
he
you see it?
is. Yes.
I don't know if the light's very good on it, but
Oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous.
yeah,
Really
yeah,
gorgeous.
yeah, I actually had him because one thing about airbrush art is it's really hard to if it gets scratched, the original gets scratched, it's hard to fix.
Wow.
I dread fixing it because it's just hard. And so anyway, Geronimo got a scratch on him, and and my cousin, you know, he wanted me to fix it, so I brought it home, and I had it hanging on my wall for the longest time. And I swear to God, Geronimo, I could just, man, I would be, you know, walking around in my house, and I'd walk by him, and I'd be thinking about something, and the guy, and then I'd hear that voice say, "I wouldn't do that," you know, and I kind of turn around and look at him, and I say, well, "What would you do?" You know, and after a while, I can swear I can hear his voice tell me what and what not to do, even to the point where I was starting to gain weight, and he said, "You better get out there and move around." He says, "You're going to get sick," you know. And sure enough, after a while, things start happening, you know. And I'd
Yeah.
look at him and well, you told me. And he said, "Yes, I did." You know, so it's like, and I kind of miss having him because he was like my. I would always check in with him. I'd look at him and check in with him about certain things that were going on in my life, and I would always get a clear answer from him. So that spirit, I mean, he was such a powerful man that, you know, I feel that everybody does feel that closeness with him. He was so powerful, you know, but and yet, you know, just a common man, you know, with a cause, you know. So yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So I finally fixed it and getting it back to my cousin. So
Well, that's good.
yeah.
That's good. Well, we're going to take a little break and talk about Red Nation for 1 second. This
Okay, good.
whole 25-year anniversary of Red Nation Celebration Institute is also, this is our first fundraiser for our legacy project. And we'll be celebrating for the
Yeah.
whole year, right? Because we turned 25 this August. So we'll be celebrating all year, and next year we'll have a huge exhibit in Santa Fe, New Mexico for our 25th. Hopefully we'll all be in person by then.
Oh, sounds good.
Yeah, so we set up a donation page on rednationff.com. And because I'm technical, I this putting up the card so you can donate that way. I just I'll figure it out, for next Friday. But for right now, after we finish this show, I will put it up where you can donate, and any amount is deeply appreciated. We have some really big announcements to make coming up, and also if you contribute $100 or more, everyone you'll get a Red Nation t-shirt. So
sounds good.
These are a limited edition because our 2020 are going to look completely different. And so we want to share these with everybody that contributes $100 or more. So you could go to the site rednationff.com and contribute if you'd like, and be part of the Team Red Nation, natives in charge of their narrative. And that
That's
we
right.
are. That we are.
Yeah. That's
So anyway, so let's talk about how we first met and how it came about. So in 2005, in 2000, I went to the Cultural Affairs Department in Los Angeles, and the acting executive director at that time, her name was Marjorie Reese. And I asked her, I said, you know, why isn't there an American Indian Heritage Month? And she said, I don't know. And I said, well, I want to launch one. And she goes, okay, let's trust each other. I love the idea. We shook hands, and she goes, it's going to take some time, but we'll trust each other and we'll make it happen. So I believed her. And so in 2005, Red Nation Celebration Institute officially launched it, right? That year of the month of November in 2005. And then in 2006, we moved forward to making it official by the state of California with Governor Schwarzenegger and Lieutenant Bustamante. And when Mayor Villagrosa came into office.
Yeah.
And we were also asked, our production company was also asked to produce the mayor's reception. This really woke everyone up. Woke our community up in a very, very big way. And it was a lot of work, a lot of things thrown at me on all levels, psychically, and a lot of levels, physically and verbally. And but we produced a mayor's reception that had never been done like that before or since. And we were able to bring in a lot of our tribal chair women and men, a lot of our holy people, our medicine people, all in one place at one time. And from my understandings, that had not been done for over 150 years. And so that's where I met you. I saw your artwork, and you, I don't know what I'm going to ask you. I mean, your energy with my energy was just like, I felt like you were just because of Geronimo, I know, were guiding me, because it was so intense. It was so intense.
Yeah.
All the politics were just like, you know, I'm just trying to do something good and loving and nurturing and proactive for our people. It's like, you know, could everyone just breathe? Let's just work together, you know, do this together, hold hands together. And wow, a lot of lessons learned.
Yeah. When you say that, I'm reminded of something that was told to us a long time ago, and they said, before anything good happens, there's a little bit of chaos. And I even think right now what we're going through with the COVID and with the climate change, you know, whether you acknowledge it or not, there's a lot going on right now with it. Like, I feel like there's this whole change over from a world that's run by men to a world that will be, you know, managed by women. You know, that's what's going on now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and so I think that all this chaos we're going through, you know, before even this thunderstorm that I witnessed and this rain that came down the other day, you know, you could hear the thunder beings out there just pounding away and making noise and basically telling us they were coming. And then this wind came through and it just like swept through here, moving all the trees all crazy. And then here came the rain, the blessings. So it's like, I think many times when there's like your whole movement that you went through with your production company and doing all the work that you do, there's a little bit of chaos that happens, but then when and then the medicine happens, you know.
Yeah.
Then the
And
blessing
then the
happens.
medicine.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So you know, I mean, we can get excited and get stressed out about everything, but as you know, you've heard people say, let go and let God, you know. So I think sometimes even myself, I have to remember those words and let it go and let it do what it needs to do. That's the way that medicine works. So yeah.
yeah. Well, I remember you had me get a bunch of arrows.
Yeah.
And I remember at
Yeah.
the mayor's ceremony, I held up the arrows with my son. And what was the words that you gave me?
Well,
you remember?
I think, yeah. Every time I see, because you know how Indian people are. You know, they sometimes they're their own worst enemies. I don't know how many times I've heard that. You know,
Yeah.
and we can be. You know, but when we're united, like what went on with the pipeline up there in Dakotas, I mean, there's something that's going to happen. You know, I mean, and that bundle of arrows. I think it was Tecumseh, or was in the whole situation that happened back in the late 1700s and 1800s, early 1800s, that he was trying to unite the tribes. Oh, you still there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I can't see you, but okay,
Oh.
I can't see you though.
Oh,
But
that's
anyway, yeah, he said that he said each one of these arrows represented in this bundle represents us as tribal people, our tribes, individual families, clans. He said, and he took one out and he put it over his knee and he broke it. And he says, if we stand alone, this is what happens to us. We'll be broken.
Yeah.
And then he took the rest of the arrows in a bundle and he tried to break them over his knee and he couldn't do it, you know? And he says, this is how we'll be if we stay together. They cannot break us, you know? So anyway, that's what that represented to me. And I've seen that situation and I've tried to bring up what he did with those bundle of arrows many times, because many times there's been situations where we're not unified in our struggle for our Indian people, Native people, Indigenous people, and we've needed to stay together in order to get things accomplished. So yeah.
Yeah, I that helped me so much. That kept me centered, and it kept me strong during that time, because it was really, really a challenging time. There was a young kid that made a video of the whole thing, of the whole mayor's reception.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I'm not going to say who, but some mysterious entity took it down from YouTube. And I was going to copy it and I didn't. So that's a lesson to me, like copy everything right away.
Yeah, documentation. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need documentation. Yeah, that's
I don't know who,
kind of important.
I know who did it, but it was really sad that it couldn't have stayed up, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to
I
the
was
kid that did it, that filmed it. I don't remember his name.
You never knew.
I don't
Maybe it'll pop up.
Maybe. I mean, it was removed from YouTube. I wouldn't even know how to get it back. I think once something is removed from YouTube, YouTube doesn't have it. You know what I mean? It's like gone.
Yeah. Anyway, I was going to show you a piece that I did for my son. He was going to UC Santa Cruz. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
And
Gorgeous.
got that bundle of arrows down there.
Yes.
And that represents represented all the different tribes that were represented in his club there, in his native club there at UC Santa Cruz. So
That's
this
so
is a
cool.
logo for their club.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. Anyway, there's that bundle of arrows again, and I explained it to him, and so he can
Yeah.
understand that concept.
It's very powerful. It's very true. And, the one thing that Red Nation Celebration Institute has always been, our foundation is to partner and to bring people together and to join forces and for the better good of all, the greater good of all. And that's
Yeah,
always been, we're always have done that, no matter what, no matter what. And I just want everybody out there who's watching or who will watch once this is over, is that you're welcome at our table. You're welcome at our table. So any of you out there that want to support or volunteer, or are an artist or a filmmaker or a musician or a tech, or you're always welcome at this table. You have a place here, a voice here, and just contact us.
We have a lot of talented people, that's for sure.
Oh, we do.
We have a lot of talented people.
We do. And now there's this whole diversity thing with the industry. And I wrote this thing down about diversity. I'm going to see if I can find it real fast, but well, I'm not going to spend time looking for it. But I'll share it next time. This inclusion, it's like the people at the top need to, I feel, learn why, and investigate why they've excluded us, why they've excluded our voice, and why we don't have a seat at the table. I mean, I can use my experience, strength, and hope, right? Like all the things, all the 43 years of me curating film, all the content that I've personally directed and produced. This is just me. Imagine like all the other native filmmakers out there, and producers and directors and tech in front of and behind the camera, and actors that are very well established and professionals, why we don't have a seat at the table, right?
Yeah.
And there's no excuse for it. And
there's no excuse, that's for sure. I kind of, every time I get that feeling that you're talking about right now about being excluded, most of the time, because I mean, I heard a older Caucasian man say that, this country is run by white men and it belongs to white men. And I mean, I think that when the Europeans first arrived over here, they were fleeing. They were fleeing. They were running away from what was going on over there in Europe. It was it was crazy, and they were coming out of the dark ages and all that stuff. So, and they were, there was a lot of darkness over there. And I think that every time that situation you're talking about happens, I think it's rooted in fear.
Totally.
And because they live in a fear-based society,
Absolutely.
And they even fear God, and
exactly.
and God is a
fearing God
will smite you, punish you, but
crazy.
and I think if God wanted to get rid of us, he would have done it a long time ago, because we've committed a lot of sins. So
exactly.
I mean, that's how powerful that. But it's my thinking, and I believe that the Creator really loves us. So as do all these trees and animals around us. Otherwise, they would have figured out a way to get rid of us a long time ago. So
I agree.
anyway,
Yeah. Well, the one thing that we are, we could look forward to is our women that are really coming forward and being nurtured and supported. And, like you shared earlier. And, the most important thing I feel right now is that we need to vote. We need to vote. And,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
in the biggest way.
Mhm.
So, well, Ikoshy, this has been like, I really, really am happy that you are available today, and
Right.
that you got to share your experience, strength, and hope. And I want to ask you another question. What would you like to share as a mentor, like to the younger artist that's out there? Like maybe
Mhm.
how to get started, or just anything you'd like to share about that.
Well, one thing that I've found out is that when people, I figured it out one day that when people look at my artwork, they are looking at my own history, my own personal, they call it your own personal journey. Um, from the ceremonies I attended to people, an elder sitting down with me and explaining something, how tobacco, what's the whole thing with tobacco and how we should use it. And so all these experiences, I've kind of documented it with my artwork. And if you look at any other artist, you're basically looking at them document their life, their experiences, their feelings, and their expressions through their art, whatever art you're into, whether it's dance or singing or whatever. And and I'm just, my art is just one part of something that's huge. That's, we got native artists all over this, up and down this continent, and down South America, and all the way up north, and then we have all these other indigenous or native artists from other countries. So and the thing is another friend of mine who was he was a white man, a good friend of mine and one I respect. He told me that, he said, out of all your efforts, he said, take some of your effort and always put it towards the greater good, and the greater good of everybody, not just your native people, or not
Right.
just your family, or the
Exactly.
greater good of everybody. So,
Yeah.
um, and the more as I get older, I used to think when I was really young and I was a born again savage, and I always used to think, it was us and them, but the picture is bigger than that, it's us together. No matter what race you come from, we're in a fix right now, and we have to do something about it. And whatever you can contribute, whether you're an artist or whatever it is you do in your life, uh, don't forget to do something for the greater good, of the planet and of humanity. So yeah, I suggest that for young artists. Don't forget the rest of the world.
Well, being of service is one of I think, the truest, authentic positions, if that's the right word for this, that human can be on while we're here on this
Yeah.
earth plane, in this envelope that we are in,
Yeah.
to be of service. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like what you're doing, I mean, to me, anything that you do and you dedicate yourself to, it's going to help everybody. That's the way our native people, that's the way we pray. We don't just pray for um, ourselves and our particular whatever issues we have. We pray for everybody.
Yeah. Yes, we do. That's what our ceremonies are about, the foundation of
Yeah.
them anyway.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost up with the Indigenous hour here with Red Nation Celebration Institute. And Ikoshy, I really want to thank you for your time and wonderful energy and the gorgeous artwork that you do. And
Thank
you want to say the name of your website, or so people can go to it?
Yeah, like I said, I have a new line of apparel out. It's at ikoshy.myshopify.com. And they can also go to my website. It's ikoshy.com.
And also
Check it
visit
out.
you
And
on Facebook, right?
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. And
Cool.
yeah,
Okay. So,
so they could see you. They could see what I'm up to.
yeah. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us for this hour, and and we'll see you next Friday at 3. Our guests next Friday are going to be fashion designers by the name of Lauren and Valentina Aragon. So we're going to have some fun with that. And but again, if you would like to contribute to the 25th anniversary of Red Nation Celebration Institute Legacy Project, I encourage you to visit rednationff.com. Any amount is appreciated. And anyone over $100 gets a t-shirt. These are limited edition. 2020 won't be out till November. So, or you could just buy a t-shirt for 20 bucks. Huh?
And vote.
And vote. Vote. Okay. Thank you, Patricia, for working the back end over there. And thank you again, Ikoshy, and we will see you all next Friday at 3. Oh, one more thing. Stay tuned in this Monday for our American Holocaust series from the Native perspective. Our guests will be Congresswoman Deb Haaland, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, Joanne Shenandoah, and myself, plus surprise guests. And we will be talking about why we wear red and our Native women leaders. So join us at 5 o'clock Pacific time on Monday here on Facebook Live. See you all later.
Sounds good.
Love you all.
All right.
Bye.
We'll see you.
See you
Bye.
later.